to talk to you about the concept of an enterprise-ready cloud, something that's been gaining more and more attention as the concept of cloud computing becomes more and more important to enterprises that I deal with every day. Who am I? I'm Simon Crosby. I'm the CTO of Citrix Systems, and I work a lot in data center and cloud area. And I'm going to give you my specific viewpoint on it, as I've been spending a lot of time helping to build some clouds in recent times. Perhaps, though, as we start, it's worthwhile thinking about the whole concept of cloud and the concept of virtualization. And this being a virtual conference is a great opportunity for me to actually give a presentation from home, as opposed to having to fly somewhere and present to you. And that is a good idea, given this big volcano that happened to happen in Iceland. And indeed, I should have been giving this to you from Prague, and I was prevented from going to Prague by this volcano. So there's a very physical constraint applied to virtualization, something which we're not normally accustomed to. And in general, when I speak to CIOs and they talk to me about cloud, I get this idea that there's a lot of smoke there, and somewhere in the middle of it all is this thing called virtualization. So my aim is to debunk the myths around this, to help the CIO understand what is relevant in cloud and where it is going, and to talk about what enterprise readiness means in the context of cloud. I think in the context of volcanoes, it's also worth thinking about who the CIO is and the position that they're in today. The position that the CIO is in is that the cost of business today simply cannot deal with the legacy infrastructure that is currently in place. CIOs are challenged by the enormous cost of today's enterprise infrastructure and the need for flexibility and agility to deal with the business. The world is literally exploding around CIOs, and indeed, as some of my cost metrics will show to you, it is quite simply not tenable to continue in the old way. So here's our poor CIO walking up to the volcano. And what I'm going to do is dive in and talk about what the concepts are in cloud, what enterprise readiness means in cloud, and when you can actually expect to buy and run enterprise-class cloud services. Let's look at the enterprise stack. This isn't meant to be technically correct, but it's just an example. Today's enterprise IT stack is combined of tightly coupled components. For example, servers are tightly coupled to operating systems, and applications are tightly coupled to those operating systems because they're installed in them, and the storage is tightly coupled into those databases and various other things. The same is true on clients, of course, as well. So what then is the role of virtualization in all of this? Well, that's the thing that we have to figure out. What does cloud do? How can we address this complex, tightly interwoven stack, and what can we do about it? Cloud in general begs a definition, and I'm not going to spend time doing definitions today because I think people get fed up with definitions of cloud. Cloud, though, is attacking this stack that we have currently built and leaving it vulnerable in many, many ways. So let's look at some of those ways. If you look at what the cloud is doing, there are infrastructure as a service plays, Amazon Web Services being exemplary of that, Google App Platform, and various other things, Azure, Force.com and Salesforce.com, and what Apple is doing in terms of its SaaS platform. All of these are challenges to the existing enterprise stack, and challenges which are having a profound effect on the behavior of users and the needs for IT services. For example, what on earth is the Apple logo doing here? Well, the Apple logo is here because it's changing the user's expectation of what the enterprise application stack should be. And nothing is going to change the demands on IT more than consumerization of IT. So platforms such as the iPad and the iPhone are dramatically changing users' expectations of what applications are, where they should be accessible, and how individuals interact with the enterprise apps that they demand. So let's take a look at some of these concepts and how they affect IT. Today's applications are simple. It's an icon on my phone, or it's a web-based app that I can trivially get hold of, and the user experience is fabulous. Fabulous in the sense that I don't need training in order to deal with it. I don't think the concept of a manual, well, maybe a manual does exist for something like Salesforce.com, but I've certainly never used one, and I've used Salesforce very well. So users nowadays are very happy finding their own way through web-based apps, whether that be